Hello, everybody. So good to see you all today. Welcome to our live conversation about financial abundance. My name is Brandi Michelle, and I'm really excited to share some insights and techniques that have helped me and many others on our journey towards financial prosperity. For those of you who I don't know well, I am a happiness coach. Best job around. Everyone knows the quote unquote fundamentals of how to be happy, really, this idea of meditation, a gratitude practice, prioritizing relationships that mean the most to you. But a lot of people are still unhappy. So I teach people how to apply the core fundamentals in a way that actually work for them. Additionally, I have a gift of helping people bring their awareness to that which is unknown and interfering with them being truly happy. This allows people who have checked all the boxes of success and achievement to finally cultivate true happiness across all aspects of their life. The unintended consequence is that when you cultivate true happiness, that which you are seeking actually comes to you much easier. It's such a gift when we shift this paradigm, right? It's like this really, really beautiful space of being able to just call in that which you're seeking in this much, much more beautiful way. So I'm excited for this conversation. Okay, so I've got a couple questions that were already sent over. Did want to start by letting everybody know that I am hosting a free webinar. You can look at it in the chat here. It's Gratitude Unwrapped, and that's on 18th of April at 4:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you'd love to join us, please just register right here below. All right, again, the link is in the chat. So today we will start by defining what abundance is. I'll share a couple of reasons why we prevent ourselves from having it. And then I'll share a couple of reasons and ways we can more easily align with financial abundance. Then I'll answer any questions that come up. So please put them in the chat. I'm, again, really, really excited for this conversation. So I think it's important to start by defining what abundance is, because we sometimes have too narrow of an idea about abundance. And really, abundance is not just about having a lot of money. Oftentimes that's what people think and lean into when they're kind of ideating about abundance. But it really includes kind of this emotional, spiritual, and relational aspects of our lives. It's about feeling fulfilled and grateful for what we already have, while really opening up and being available for more. And it's a mindset, right? You have to have an abundance mindset to live an abundant life. And the great part about it is that it's really something that you can cultivate through everyday practices, which we're going to talk about, right? So these ideas of gratitude and visualization really impact kind of the abundance that we'll see in our life. But today, because I know that's why you all are tuning in, we are going to focus on financial abundance, because that is always kind of a linchpin in all of our lives, right? And I grew up really thinking that focusing on financial abundance or finances or money in general wasn't spiritual. But it turns out that it really is, especially kind of in the world that we live in, the underpinnings of everything else we do. And it affords us this idea of safety that we're all seeking in the world. And so today, let's just dig in. And again, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat for me. Okay. So two obstacles that kind of get in our way around financial abundance. The first is really this idea of limiting beliefs. So it really is one of the biggest obstacles in cultivating abundance. It's what are our ideas about beliefs? And why this is so important is because when you think about money, especially kind of in the world that we are living in this time that we are, there are so many levels of consciousness that impact our ideas about money. And so I'm actually going to walk us through them all, because I don't know if oftentimes we give enough credence to this idea that we are being impacted in so many ways in terms of like what we think is possible financially. So first, like just the entire world has an idea about money, who has it, who doesn't, what countries have it, what type of people have it. And then we come to America, and America has its own ideas about money, right? It's land of the free, home of the brave, this ability to like pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Then as we kind of like dial that down, we'll look at our um, cultural, right, consciousness. And so for me, for example, I am, a Black American, and what is possible for people who look like me, who come from where I come from, right? Then there's this idea of like, I'm a woman, what's available for women? How much money am I allowed to make? What is the glass ceiling that I may run into? All of these ideas are really instilled in us at such a young age, like in a way that we aren't even really aware of. And that's why it's important to bring awareness to your beliefs, right? And so, and even moving on from there, then it's like, what did your family teach you? And what did you learn in your neighborhood? What were you seeing in your home around money? Like all of these things are going to shape your identity as it pertains to your ability to align with the financial life that you're seeking. And so, for example, I always like to share kind of these real world examples. I grew up with these handful of sayings in my life, right? So, money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work twice as hard to have half as much. The more money you make, the more money you spend, right? So, these were beliefs that were like really almost said in passing, but so consistently that they became ingrained in my mind, right? And they helped shape my experiences for quite some time until I really made what was unconscious conscious for me. And they're saying such as this that really limit our ability to manifest abundance in a beautiful way that aligns again with our dreams. So it's really important to identify what these beliefs are, because until you identify them and really again make them conscious, you're not able to work on them and to move through them. And so we've got to let that go. And one thing that I always love to reference is kind of in my formative years, there was the song like More Money, More Problems. And there was this entire generation of humans who were like singing this song as though it was a national anthem, right? Like that it was true. And the brain is so powerful that whatever you believe is true, right? In your head, your brain is doing everything in its power to make that manifest kind of in your outward experiences. So all of your experiences start in your head, and you have to be like really cognizant of kind of what you're thinking and what you're taking in. And it was interesting that one of my administrative um, partners, she asked me just very point blank, Brandi, is it true that if you have more money, that you have more problems, right? And what I know is true is that these ideas are actually what preclude us from having that which we're seeking, because by definition, we wouldn't want to have problems, right? Like we wouldn't want to bring something to pass that's going to create more strife or friction in our lives. So if we have a negative connotation, right, around money in any way, shape, or form, then our brain is going to say, well, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't align with that. We shouldn't have that, because if we do, then we will also be inviting this negative outcome. And so you want to be really careful with kind of your beliefs about money. All right. So that's the first thing. The second thing is really, asking yourself, do you have a scarcity mindset, right? So as you're approaching life, do you believe that all ideas are taken? Do you believe that like whatever you want to bring to the world or do, there isn't space available for you because there is like a limited number of resources that can be given to that idea? Do you sometimes have like envy or disdain towards other people if they're like living their dream, right? And so all of these thoughts that might be going through your head, they're really like they come from this place of scarcity, this place of lack. We mentioned earlier this idea around money. There is no limit to money, right? Like this idea that does it grow on trees? It in fact does, right? Because money is paper, paper is made from trees. So like over time, money does in fact come from trees. And the irony of that is that if you look back over time, we've put more and more money into the system in this really arbitrary way. If you look over the course of history, and that's how you can know there really is no lack, right? And we also see these ideas, and sometimes people have disdain around this, but that people who are ultra wealthy seem to get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And why is that? And it's because they don't have a limit to what they believe is possible, right? So they're really like looking through this lens of, oh, like there really is no upper limit around kind of this possibility. And we see this in all things, right? Like the first guy who ran a 4-minute mile, like immediately following, so many people ran a 4-minute mile because it changed the consciousness around what was possible. And so you really want to be aligning with this idea that money is an infinite resource, that there is always space for your ideas and what you are bringing to the world in this really beautiful way, and that you will always be fairly compensated for your gifts, right? And when you approach the world from this beautiful perspective, instead of a perspective of scarcity and lack, you're going to start to see that the world opens up for you. So again, kind of the two obstacles that we see to aligning with abundance are these ideas of limiting beliefs and this idea of scarcity. And then what are two things that you can really do to improve your state of financial abundance? And so the one, which you'll hear me say all the time, it's why I'm doing a free webinar about it this coming Tuesday, is really this idea of gratitude, right? So you align with financial abundance by first and foremost sitting in this space of gratitude for what you already have, right? You cannot be constantly seeking something better and not having this really beautiful appreciation for what you have. There's just too much friction there, right? And so you can both be grateful for what you have and also seeking to align with something more. Me, for example, for those of you who know me, I actually was very intentional about manifesting this beautiful home that my family lives in San Francisco. And one day I literally woke up after having two interactions. So one, I had two people come to my house in short order, the house that I previously lived in, and tell me how amazing the house was. Like they were like, "Oh, I love this backsplash. Oh, this house is so beautiful." And they went on and on about how amazing the house was. And I realized that it was the universe reminding me that I already had a beautiful home. And I had gotten to the point where I'd been like working on kind of co-creating that our family would live in this new home. And I'd gotten to the point where I just was like ready to go. We'd been looking for a new house for 18 months. Nothing had really come onto the market. I'd clearly seen this house. I knew kind of all the aspects that I wanted in it. But it just like wasn't really coming to pass as quickly as I liked. And in that moment, I realized that like the home that we already lived in was this really amazing home that like most humans would be absolutely beside themselves to live in. And I was just constantly in this state of like seeking something better, right? Instead of being like, this home is beautiful. And here are the reasons why I would love for our family to move into a new home in a different part of town. That gives us access to different things, and not making either one better or worse, just kind of seeking something different. And so it was kind of at that turn in my own consciousness where I had this really beautiful gratitude for the space that we already had, that our new home became available to us. So I really invite you guys to always sit in this space of like loving what you have. And then last but not least is this beautiful idea of visualization visualization and living as if, right? And so if you have this idea for kind of what you're seeking and what you want to align with, you really want to visualize yourself already in that life, right? And you want to move through the world as though you already are living in that space. So you have to believe that your life is the way that you're seeking in advance of having it, right? So one of my favorite authors always says, you have to believe it to see it, right? So if you believe already that something has come to pass, then you will see that made manifest in your outside experience much more easily, right? So think about yourself already being in possession of the things that you desire, whether it be a car, an object, a home, a career, a position at work, all things that you would align with your financial abundance. You want to kind of see those things in advance. And ironically, back to kind of my home as this example, I called my realtor and I was like, I see our home. And I was very specific. I was like, it's on the north side of the street. It has a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. You know, you walk up the stairs and there's a balcony. Like, I had a very clear vision of the house that we were seeking. And I mean, he ironically in the beginning was like, I don't think that house exists in San Francisco, but I saw it so clearly, and I saw my family in this home. And the first time that I came here, I was like, this is it. And so I just lived as if the house was ours. And here we are. So love to be on this live with you from this place. Okay. So those are the two things, right? So visualizing and living as if, that's kind of the one. And then also this beautiful place of gratitude for what you already have. So those are actions that you can take. I do have one question that I received in advance that I want to make sure that I answer. And this question was really around, someone shared with me that they made a significant amount of money this year, far and away more than they had in the past. They didn't realize it until they were actually doing their taxes. And how do they kind of recognize this while also continuing to strive for more? So first and foremost, just want to like give a little like clap and celebration around this idea of calling in more in a way that you weren't even conscious of, because that just means like you can really be in this beautiful space of co-creation where you're not like worrying and wanting, it just happens. And this question really goes back to a couple of points that I made earlier, is this idea of sitting in this beautiful gratitude for what you already have, like really being thankful and grateful that you made significantly more, and asking the universe to continue to bless you in this beautiful way, right? And so anytime that we get what we're asking for, we do want to pause and sit in a space of like incredible gratitude. And also like recognize maybe what steps you took, even if they were unconscious, to make such a big leap, right? And then we double down on those things that really served us well, so that we can call in even more. So again, congratulations to you for really manifesting this beautiful increase in terms of financial abundance, and continue to sit in this place of gratitude while asking for more. All right. So in conclusion, really just want to note that aligning with financial abundance is about cultivating this mindset of gratitude and abundance. It's about staying in this place of happiness, right? Like, so as I spoke of earlier, the happier we are, the unintended consequence of that is that we're more easily able to co-create that which we're seeking, right? And then we really want to identify and let go of limiting beliefs, and express gratitude for what we already have, ensuring that we don't have kind of this scarcity or lack mindset, and then visualize our life and live as if we are already there. And this is a beautiful way that we can create more and more abundance in our lives. So I hope you found these insights helpful and that you'll actually apply some of them to your life on a very consistent basis. And I'd love to hear back from anyone around kind of their leaps that they've made in terms of aligning with increased financial success. So thank you. A couple items that I do want to share. Next week, I will have 3 live conversations, so please check my socials to learn more. On Tuesday, again, I have a free webinar, so if you just look here in the chat, you can grab that link to register. I would love for you to be there with me. It's about unpacking gratitude, and it's really going to focus on kind of 5 things that we don't often think about in terms of a gratitude practice that's going to help us scale our level of appreciation and more easily manifest that which we're seeking. And of course, if you enjoyed this content, please share it with your friends. Would love for people to know that I'm here and I'm holding these conversations. And more than anything, I'm grateful to spend this time with you and that you are here with me. So as we depart, remember, changing the world really is an inside job. Imagine if we had 8 billion people who were truly happy, what a world we would live in. So today and every day, make a choice to prioritize joy. Thanks for being here. Bye now.